Hello everyone. Welcome to another video of series Tough Times Never Last but Tough Entrepreneurs Do. Everything is created twice, first in mind and then in reality. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. What we all want during these tough times is peace of mind. And what better way to achieve this than being mindful? And to throw some light on this, we have a special guest with us today, Sapan Shrimal. Sapan is the co-founder at Monk at Work, a specialized consulting firm enabling organizations to implement tools and techniques of mindfulness. Sapan is a thought leader of mindfulness at workplace. He has over 20 years of practice and study in mindfulness. He has been a speaker at various industry and HR forums, including Business Today, Business World HR, and Mindful Leadership Summit. He also co-authored Mindfulness at Workplace, India Study 2018. He is a certified master life coach and a certified master practitioner in NLP. Sapan is also a Vipassana meditation practitioner and takes active interest in scientific and research developments in mindfulness. Welcome, Sapan.
Thanks so much, Tejsa. Thanks for the kind intro.
Sapan, I was really looking forward to this interview because whenever I have met you, you have always been calm and composed, energetic and positive. So I would
Thanks.
really like to know your insights into this pandemic situation.
Sure. I'm also glad to be part of this interesting series.
Sapan, so how was your daily routine before lockdown and how is it during lockdown?
So, I think broadly, if I really look at it, uh, it has remained largely the same. I'm sure the format has changed while we were working from offices, commuting to offices, and now we are working from home. Now we are seeing very limited faces. But the daily structure is quite similar. So at work, we could very quickly transition our work to virtual mindfulness solutions. And so again, the work routine and activities remained the same, except possibly earlier organizations used to host us in their conference rooms, and now they are hosting us on Zoom. So that's the difference. So the biggest thing I think I miss is the travel, meeting new people, face-to-face interaction. So that is a big miss and big difference before and after. At home, so there was one interesting thing. So even before the lockdown was officially announced, I remember, you know, we in the family sitting together and making our own timetables, including our 9-year-old, and we synced it together. And it worked in a way that we got our individual time as well as time together. Now, I mean, it's not as perfect as it sounds. Definitely, we keep making adjustments every day, but it's working well. I mean, we don't have TV at home, we don't have Netflix, we don't have any other subscriptions, and we don't foresee getting any free time for these things in the coming days.
Great, great. So is your little one also helping your wife in
Yes.
household chores?
Yeah, we all are.
Great, great. So, Sapan, I would really like to know, has lockdown changed your perspective about the way you run your business?
Oh yes. I think there are a lot of deepening that has happened in the thoughts. So we keep talking about agility, and always we have spoken we should be agile, startups should be agile, but I think it was all conceptual and theoretical. Today we are living and breathing agility, and today we have understood what agility means, what a quick transition means. And one of the biggest realization is that agility is not just about business processes and structure. Agility is actually a state of mind where if crisis hits me, I should be in a position to face it in its reality and really move forward. and also ability to have the clarity of thoughts where I can take right decisions without, without getting swayed by the shock of the situation. So I think that's real agility, and that's the um, understanding that I really got uh, very fast. I think in last 20 days we got that understanding.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, so, as I understand, you have 20 years of experience in mindfulness. So, I think you started very early in your life, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, uh, I think mindfulness is a panacea for my life, in every situation, in everything. So, for example, let's say I'm facing a stressful situation and it's really stressing me out. When I actually become mindful about it, and I am sharing these actual experiences, what happens? So the the strain, the turbulence that's there surrounding that stressful situation, actually it fades away, and what you're left with a factual situation which is much easier to deal with rather than handling the mental monster that we create around the circumstances many times. If it comes to ideation, and if we have to make a creative idea or come out with some solution for a nagging problem. Uh, Now I have a very clear cut step by step formula to get into that mindful creative zone. I go there, and I think it has never happened or rarely happened that I have come out empty handed. So whether it is handling the stressful situations or doing some focus work, doing some ideation work, creativity work. In all the cases, mindfulness has really helped me, and especially in this situation when we got to be focused, we got to have a shield against all the negativity. Mindfulness is, I think, my lifesaver.
So, I would like to have some, deep insights into it. So, has, mindfulness has helped you deal with this pandemic situation?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely. See, when we're talking about day to day life, I think what matters is how do we make some of the conscious choices, and we do try to make some conscious choices, but our mind does not allow us. I mean, look at all of us. I mean, we all want to get up early in the morning, exercise, but the mind plays games with us. So very recently, I decided that I will check news only once in a day, and I found that sufficient. And I could actually do that, and it's possibly because mindfulness practice helped in not only making that choice, but even sticking to it. So small choices like this to the choice. For example, almost a year back, I left coffee for 6 years, which
Oh,
was a difficult thing for me earlier. Um, but I could do that, and I'm not a very disciplined person, so not that it's my willpower, but I think gradually mindfulness is really giving that clarity, giving that I can't say control over mind, but I think it's it's again ability to make conscious choices and sticking to it is something it's really helping on a day to day, on a hour to hour basis.
oh, great, great, great. So, Sapan, as we see that there is a lot of panic situation right now, there are a lot of parallel issues, such as unemployment, loss of income. So there is, depression, anxiety amongst children,
Right.
elderly people living alone, all that. So, can you share some tips and practices to follow for everyone to build resilience with loneliness, anxiety, depression, loss of income, etc.?
Okay. So, uh, one of the things, and this is by our own experience during last, especially 20 days. Uh, I believe we all should take control of our routine, the day routine, which has gone completely out of control at this point of time because we are living a very unusual life. So I have seen many times either people are being driven by the circumstances, or it's just going on random. So taking control of the routine, I mean, I'm talking a very, old school concept of timetable, but really speaking, it is such a big boon at this point of time, because I strongly believe that, if we don't fill our day with productive activities, then junk will find its way into it, and which is not good for our life, which is not good for our future. So as simple as making a timetable, and timetable does not mean making too rigid. Somebody can just start with blocking a couple of hours 2 times in a day. So what happens is, when you start blocking these small 2 hours, actually your rest of the day also start to get synced into it.
Mm.
So need not be too rigid on that. I think this is also the time, and I'm talking more in terms of the fellow entrepreneurs, that this is the time when we get some more time for strategizing, for conceptualizing, for possibly reflecting back. And I think we should definitely take out an hour every day, or possibly 2-3 hours in a week during these times. See, we have a lot of uncertainty about when this thing is going to get over, but why not to start thinking in a way that it is going to stay for some time, whatever, and we are hoping for the best, but let's prepare for the worst if it stays. Now, how should I prepare my routine in a way that I make the best out of the situation? And I think for across the group, whether it is entrepreneurs or anybody else, um, I can't help but suggest mindfulness. And it's so easy. I sometimes feel so amazing about it, that you are sitting almost doing nothing, but you are getting magical benefits. So a simple practice. So for example, if you are working out in the morning, if you are jogging, or if you are exercising in the morning, it gives energy, it gives strength, it gives stamina for our body to work really, really, really well and face tough situations. Same way, mindfulness is the exercise for our mind and for emotions. Now, if we want to really strengthen ourselves to face all the negativity and stress, at 5 minute, 10 minute, 15-minute mindfulness practice is so easy to do. And there are more than 1,000 apps available, freely practices are available to do this. So it's not a big thing. It's only our resolve that I want to go to this mindful gym for 15 minutes every day and practice it. It can make so much difference. And especially in these times when we are isolated, but the great thing is we are with our families. Why not to practice mindfulness with our families? It can be one of the best time for bonding over. We even have some of the corporate clients where now they are following a remote mindfulness practice through the group chats like Zoom. So so even if you are at a distance, but you can possibly decide a time to come together. Many people are deciding time to play games
Right, right.
together, coming together on, and so I think mindfulness can also be introduced in our life. It would be helpful.
Right. So can you give us, one example, if a family is living together in this 21 days of lockdown, a
Yes,
small
yes.
example, like, while cooking or eating food, how do they practice mindfulness?
Oh, nice, nice. Oh, great, great. So uh, when they are doing something, see, if they already have a practice of mindfulness, what they can do, or no problem. I mean, even if they
So,
don't have
just
an
just for
existing,
a newcomer who does not know the meaning of what mindfulness is, so, if
okay,
you have to explain it to that person, so how would you say, if,
oh, nice.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Let me give you possibly 2 or 3 ways in which mindfulness can be very quickly practiced. Okay. One is, as soon as you get up, rather than checking your mobile phone, okay, most of us are checking our mobile phones. Okay, just possibly go to your balcony or any other place where you can experience or see nature, okay? And just look at nature, just be with it. Okay, don't think about it, don't think about anything else. 60 seconds. I'm not saying, half an hour or 30 minutes or 15 minutes. 60 seconds. Just 60 seconds standing, sitting, just looking at the nature itself is a mindfulness exercise. Second, you talked about eating, and that was so interesting and good. If you can, it would be a wonderful exercise. So if you are sitting together as a family, first it would be very nice if you can come together and pray or say thank you for the food that you have got, and then decide that first two or three bites of the food you are going to take very consciously. So sometimes we have actually practiced it at home, and it is like this. So we are sitting, and then first we are actually looking at the food. Most of the times we don't even look at the food. How's the color, how does it actually look like, how the whole setting is. Okay, and it's not for a long time. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, not more than that. Once you have looked at it, possibly then you hold it, possibly then you start eating. When you start eating, just allow it to stay on your tongue for 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Normally we just gallop, and swallow things. Allow it. Now, I'm not saying whole meal. It's very difficult, as we are not used to being mindful all the time. So it would be very difficult to sustain it longer. But these 30-second, 60-second exercises, and after you have taken those two or three uh, bites, then you can continue with the usual thing. So I think these two things can be um, good to start with. Some people, um, if they are taking a walk, I hope they are taking walk inside the premises or inside the house. Um, you can actually become completely aware of the way your limbs are moving, about the way your feet are touching the ground, and about the way gradually the breathing is happening. That itself is a good mindfulness practice.
That's amazing, Sapan. That's amazing to know. I can relate to it so much that waking up in the morning and touching phone and checking what we have missed in last 6 hours or
Yeah,
7 hours. So
correct, correct.
that's definitely what I can relate to. Uh, so Sapan, uh, now we are moving to our next segment, rapid fire round.
Mhm.
Yeah. So are
Okay.
you ready?
Yes, sure.
So Sapan, early riser or night rider?
Early riser.
Good. And books, book type, I would say autobiography, spiritualities, fiction, or business knowledge. What would you choose?
What would I choose? Um, so my first choices are the first three things. I'm actually not a businessman, so the business knowledge always comes at the last. I love autobiographies. I love uh, so spiritual books. When we define spiritual books, not exactly those spiritual books, but I love books like, so for example, Power of Now. I would define it as a spiritual book, but very practical in terms of giving us practical presence as of
Great, great. One thing you're missing the most during this lockdown?
now. I mean, I just told you I meeting people. So I'm missing the face-to-face interactions, those brainstormings together, the travel. So that is something which I'm really missing out.
Okay. uh, Sapan, what were you doing before this interview?
What I was doing before this interview, I was with my daughter. So she was making some drawings, and I was trying to understand what she was making and giving her some appreciation.
Great, great. So, uh, yeah, it is very smooth till now. So I think this is going to be the tricky one for you. If you're
Mhm.
locked down for 21 days with a person apart from your family member, who would it be?
Mhm. Ah, wow. So actually, there are many. I mean, I get many options actually. So if you say from very, very, very close circles, so there are so many friends are there, and I would love to be.
Apart from friends.
Uh, oh, apart from friends also.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, now let me tell you the wish list. So I would love to be with people with whom I have really wanted to meet and spend time. And for example, John Kabat-Zinn, who is considered to be the grandfather in mindfulness, who started the real scientific research in mindfulness, and his book called Mindfulness for Beginners is like a Bible. So I think that would be the ideal choice.
That's great. That's great. Perfect answer, which, I was looking at. Yeah, Sapan, we are done with the rapid fire round, and thank you so much. It was pleasure having you with us. And I don't think this session is only limited to entrepreneurs. I think every person of the house should watch it now, because it's a stressful situation for all of us, and mindfulness is
Right,
definitely going to be beneficial for each and every person. So thank you so much
right.
for being part of this interview, Sapan.
Thank you so much, Tej sir. Glad to be here.
Thank you.